around the NFL is, what do we need to see from each surprise team to believe that they are a real contender? And then we're also going to hit on the 2 surprise teams that are 0-2, and what do we need to see them do to bounce back? So I'll start off in the NFC North. The Minnesota Vikings right now, they opened the season at plus 750 odds to win the division. They're up to second best at plus 275 on most sites now. I need to see Sam Darnold keep on playing like he is, because so far he's looked like it's looking like a Geno Smith-like resurgence. He's playing like the 3rd overall pick that he once was. It's taken a little bit of time. I'm buying in on that defense, which is ranked very highly in DVOA. Brian Flores has it all figured out. I think the Vikings could win this division.
The Vikings could win the division. Can I just tell you that if the Vikings will win the division, then I will tell you, Jack, that the Bears are in trouble. It's all related. I already believe in the Lions to win the division. You never doubt the Packers. You just never doubt them because they've just been that good. And then from there, the Vikings, who we thought would take a step back, especially without Kirk Cousins, that means that if they're going to win the division or even be a playoff team, as you say, Jack, then that puts a lot of stock into O'Connell as well as head coach. That means that system is working, because this is a whole renaissance for Sam Darnold, a guy that was done. But sometimes, as we know, Cap, you go to a different address, all of a sudden things change.
O'Connell is, by all accounts, an outstanding football coach. Yesterday, do you remember when Mike Tannenbaum was the GM of the Jets and they were on Hard Knocks?
Oh, yeah.
They showed on social media yesterday him. Remember, they would like to have the camera right there, and he was, I don't know if I'd say heartless, but he was pretty direct. Yeah, we're going to have to let you go. So-and-so have your paperwork. He was cutting Kevin O'Connell. That was who was in the office. Yeah, we had hopes for you to be the backup here, and it didn't work out. Yeah. John will have your paperwork outside. We're going to let you go. Good luck. Kicked him out.
And now look.
It was Kevin O'Connell.
Now look at it.
Why didn't we hire Kevin O'Connell? Guy's a stud.
Then you wouldn't have Eberflus. So some thoughts now from...
Not a shot at Eberflus. It's like Kevin O'Connell. Talk about developing a young quarterback.
Do you agree with Jack, though? Jack hasn't won in the division.
I said I think they could. I still have the Lions, but the Vikings are in play now. I didn't think that before the season.
First take, Jack. The Vikings are not winning the division.
Hold on to that for your air check there, Jack. That's a good snippet you have right there, especially if the Vikings win.
They're not winning the division.
I don't think they will, but I think there's a chance. If things fall the right way for them, the defense looks really, really good. And they're doing this without Jordan Addison, too. He's been hurt the past couple of weeks.
That's the thing that frightened us before the season, because Albert Breer laid out this case about the Vikings, and we took like 2 steps back, like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be the Bears' time.
Right.
Brother, if the Vikings are any good, look, everybody cannot be over 500.
If the Vikings win the division and Jordan Love isn't out for the year, like if he's back, they're talking about he could possibly play Sunday. The Bears are finishing dead last.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Yeah. So there's that. All right, Jack, what's next?
Let's jump to the Steelers, 2-0 so far this season. They have an 18-10 win versus Atlanta, a 13-6 win versus Denver. It's the same story with Justin Fields that we saw here. I need to see them win throwing the ball to believe in them. Under 160 passing yards in the past 2 games.
You do know that Pittsburgh and Chicago is almost the same city.
Feels like it.
Football-wise, right?
Feels like it.
Football-wise, because my kids lived there.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time in Pittsburgh, and I've done a ton of basketball games there. Pittsburgh's like a mini Chicago. But football-wise, you're correct.
Difference is they make the playoffs every year.
We can say better organization and better head coach, too. I mean, they got the leg up on the Chicago.
He's the best.
Yeah.
If I told you every single coach in the NFL was a free agent at the end of the year, you could have any of them. Who would you take?
You'd be first. Tomlin.
He'd be right there in the list. Andy Reid is like amazing. I mean, it'd be Andy Reid. It'd be Tomlin.
Yeah. Whew. I mean, he'd come right through the door and tell you
it all sucks
and would do something about it.
He would.
That's right. Yeah. So, yes, 2-0. No surprise, this veteran observer of the Steelers scene. It's Mike Tomlin, after all. He's scaring them into victories. Scaring them. He is, Cap.
He doesn't mess around,
You
man.
can't be surprised. Like, I know that every year we're here for the downfall of Mike Tomlin. I'm not saying that they're going to – look, he's looking for the playoffs. He's like a college football coach that's looking for – just needs 6 wins to get into the bowl game.
So
that's what he needs. He just needs 6.
I meant to tell you this. I was told a great story. I will not say who told me, but he said I could tell the story.
Around the NFL?
Yeah. He said, I got to know Tomlin. I went to training camp this 3 or 4 years ago. He said, Tomlin goes, what are you doing tonight? Nothing. Be at the hotel. He's like, when I'm done with my meetings, let's go to dinner and grab a few drinks. Okay. He said, we grab an Uber. We get the dinner. Mm-hmm. We walk across the street. There's a bar. Let's have a couple cocktails. Let's talk. Some guy's popping off in the bar at Tomlin. Mm-hmm. And Tom was like, that's it. I'm going to go beat his ass. And the guy said, you're Mike Tomlin. It'll be all over the news. I don't care. He's not going to disrespect me like that. He's like, dude, I had to hold him back.
Oh, God.
He said, Tomlin does not care. He's going to set his mark and enforce it.
That's who he is.
Who he is.
Jack, give us another.
New Orleans Saints. They are 2-0, and that surprised me a
little bit. You probably have them winning the Super Bowl.
No. I need to see their offense find a way to succeed that isn't through Alvin Kamara. Kamara has over a third of their yards. He's an 8th-year running back. He has an injury history. I've heard the Derek Carr for MVP early in the season narrative way too many times. He falls off every single time he starts hot. I need to see him continue it, and I need to see them be able to find success with some of their other weapons.
Jack, in the next 3 games, where will the Saints be? Because it's against the Eagles, at the Falcons, at the Chiefs.
I'll go 1-2 in the next 3, so I think they'll be 3-2.
All right, so wait. The Saints they destroyed Dallas. They did. Give them credit, man. They were awesome. Who are their next 3?
Against the Eagles,
home,
at the Falcons, at the Chiefs.
They could lose all 3 of those.
I think they pull one out against either the Eagles or the Falcons.
I only throw that out because, as you laid out, you want to see more than Alvin Kamara, right? Well, this will tell a story. I think that they'll still run the football against the Eagles. I think they're going to try, and against that strong defensive front, they're going to try because that's been the formula so far. You want to see whether or not Carr, by his arm, can he win a game? Is that what you're looking for? You want to see Carr be able to make plays?
I want to see Carr be able to make the play, and I want to see Chris Olave more involved as well. They haven't been getting him the ball.
Okay. This will tell a story. I mean, 2-0, based on how many points that they've scored against the Panthers and the Cowboys, 47 and 44 respectively, is amazing in this NFL. But it is fair. Let's take a look at the next. I just look at it as a sample size. You're not beating the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Okay, that's not happening. But the other 2 games, the Eagles and Falcons, they'll tell a story. That will tell a great story about who they are.
It will.
Great story early, but late, we won't be talking much about them.
No.
All right. What's next, Jack?
Other 2-0 team that surprised me was the Seahawks, but they've played Denver and New England so far, so I don't really know how much credit to give that. Those are 2 games they should win. Their next 3 games, the quarterbacks they're facing, Skylar Thompson in Miami, Jared Goff, so tough competition in Detroit, and then Daniel Jones. So they could very easily walk out of those games either 5-0 and 4-1. So I think the Seahawks have a good chance. But I want to get to the 0-2 teams before we head out of this segment. The Ravens right now are a little bit concerning on the defensive side of the football. They're 19th in DVOA. Remember, they lost their defensive coordinator last year. They have Zach Orr, new guy in charge of the defense. This season, they are allowing the 3rd most yards per pass attempt in the NFL. Last year, they led the league in yards per pass attempt on defense. Something's going on with that defensive scheme.
It'll be fine because they take on the Cowboys in Dallas. Yeah,
Dallas better show up.
They'll turn it around. But Baltimore, if you lose at Dallas, that'll be all. Because now you're looking at 0-3.
Oh, boy.
So, and then, by the way, easy pickings to get the Bills next. After that.
At where?
It's going to be in Baltimore. And that's just going to be a slugfest. Jay Moore will tell you.
God.
Josh Allen on the road, big spot.
If the Raven open 0-4?
It's tough. It's tough in these NFL streets,
I do like that coach, too, Harbaugh.
They'll tell a great story. As all the acclaim for the Ravens saying, can they bust through, Jack? Like, there's one thing that you know about the Ravens, and that you love Lamar Jackson because individually he's a great talent. but you wonder about the rest of it in big spots, in big games. I take nothing away from the Chiefs game, Cap, because that's going to happen. It's the Chiefs. But that Raider loss, that sucks. That's a tough one.
That is. That's a bad one.
Any other 0-2 teams?
Yes, the Cincinnati Bengals 0-2. The Bengals right now have less rushing yards per game than the Bears. Their running game has been terrible. I'm afraid that window is closing. Jamar Chase wants a contract. T. Higgins on his franchise tag. I'm concerned this might be the last we see of a contending Bengals for a little bit. With Burrow, I think anything's possible, but for a little bit, I'm a little bit concerned.
I'm telling you that the Bengals have had some locker room issues. They didn't get the Jamar Chase deal done. They haven't got Trey Hendrickson done. So that's one issue. And the other team you had mentioned earlier, the Falcons, they can beat the Chiefs. They got a lot of weapons, man.
Jay Moore, let's play Hood's greatest hits. Let's go with number 7. Thank you very much on the top 10 of Hood's greatest hits. Cap, I don't think that the Bengals have the infrastructure to help out Joe Burrow. I think that Joe Burrow's great. I don't think the Bengals organization's great. They're not going in the right direction. Well, I've said that for every week now.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the stuff in the locker room. I'm not talking about the infrastructure. I'm talking about those guys pissed off in there.
Cap, that is part of the infrastructure. It's crumbling.
Yeah, that's fair.
It is
fair.
That's all I'm saying. Like, when I say infrastructure, I'm talking about the organization. Like, I believe in Joe Burrow. I believe in him. But the rest of it? I mean, we can always chalk it up to, well, the Bengals are always off to a slow start.
I mean, it's not good when your star wide receiver buys a $50 million insurance policy and says, I was misled by the organization. And then your deep lineman, who had, 17 sacks last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't get my extension done either.
There was a time, Jack, I would have exclaimed, don't worry, they got the Commanders coming up. And I would say, now that's not an easy game.
They just lost to the Patriots at home.
That's the thing. That's what I would say is that that's not an easy game, but they do have the Panthers after that. 1-3, possibly. How about that, Jack?
No turning it around in Cincinnati or Baltimore. Who has a better chance to turn it around? Baltimore, right?
Baltimore, I would say. If between the two, I would say Baltimore.
I would agree. I think that defense gets right.
And then the Bengals will end up firing Zach Taylor, who's a good coach, and they'll blame it on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be out, and they'll be right back to, as Sylvie calls it, the cycle of, what does he call it? The circle of suck?
Mm-hmm.
Circle of suck.
Hey, man, everybody can't have a Marvin Lewis contract. Wow. Can't be in there for 27 years.
And do nothing.
That brother was on the sideline of the Raiders. Did you see him over the weekend?
No.
Like a special assistant coach. Very good. I think it was the Raiders. I saw him over on the red zone. I think I saw him there. All right. You know what's coming up next?
I do. Deal breakers. Love it.
Next.